Good morning, everyone. Welcome to part 2 of my Verzasca hike. I have the lovely river behind me. I'm currently in Levatezzo. Making my way down to Tenero. It was a lovely Thursday morning. No one about in comparison to when I was here on Monday, so yeah, happy days. Today I'm looking at around about 13 kilometers, 400 meters of elevation gain and 1200 meters of descent. Maybe, considering it is a little bit short, I might go all the way to Locarno, but I'll have a look, see how things pan out as is. So yeah, here's the very famous arch bridge. You know, I have to say, I can absolutely see why The Verzasca is one of the most beautiful rivers in Europe. It's, yeah, I mean, further upstream in part one, you know, we had like lovely greys, and then going down to Verzasca, lovely, you know, blue, and now it's gone like almost emerald green, and it's a beautiful river. It's amazing. I very much would love to one day pack raft this. I would love to, but it is far, far too dangerous. It's, yeah, a mix of, you know, class 4 to class 6, and, you know, at that point, you know, you've got sections where you're absolutely creaking, which means you're in the river, in the riverbed. You know, you've got cliffs either side, and it's, if something happens, well, it gets messy, and it gets messy fast, and yeah, maybe one day, but we'll see. We'll see. Just approaching a weir, which is one of the very few on this river, and oh wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So yeah, we got that. I think this is the only weir on this entire river, other than the giant dam at the end of it, which we'll see later. But yeah, so far so good. And in comparison to when I was here on Monday, not that many people, so yeah, happy days. Just passed through tiny, really tiny village, very rustic, very, yeah, very noteworthy of the Canton Tessin. And as you can hear, there's a helicopter. It's going to be loud for a moment because the helicopter above me has literally started doing, over the past 10-15 minutes or so, it's been doing nothing but sling operations. So he's been flying through this village down to the main road with literally a Euro pallet of goods. So yeah, here's some footage of just how close I got. I wasn't in the downdraft area, I was safe, but it was still incredible to watch. Because I am absolutely fascinated by logistics. I mean, I've always been fascinated by it, so to see something like this in action makes me very happy. Yeah. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely blown away by the downdraft of the heli. Looks to be, the helicopter itself looks to be some kind of bell. I'm not quite sure which one. I think, maybe off the top of my head, just thinking it might be a Bell 512 or something. I'm not sure. I'll have a look. But yeah, happy days. Alrighty, so what I'm about to say next normally turns around and bites me in the backside, because the ascent at the moment isn't too bad. This is, if you're doing it from Sonogno down, then this is the easiest descent, but because I'm doing it reverse, I'm following the river, this is the largest ascent of this hike at, I think, 300 or so meters. But the path is very flat, and it basically just goes maybe 10 meters steep, gentle gradient, steep, gentle gradient, if even that. So yeah. Righty, so just had my lunch, cheese sandwich, ham and cheese sandwich, and now just to get ready for the final 150 meters of ascent. I feel refreshed, rejuvenated. Leave no trace. Yeah, I've packed up everything, packed up all my waste. So yeah, happy days. Just making my way along here now to the switchbacks. I've got around about 10 or so small little switchbacks, and then that's it for the ascent. So yeah, happy days. Path is getting a little bit busy, but it's quieting down quite a while now, so yeah. Wow, happy days. Just coming up to the summit now, and yeah, the switchbacks weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be, and now I've seen a lot of ruined buildings. This is absolutely the coolest one I've seen. Like some kind of old shepherd's hut or some kind of shelter. So yeah, I've been seeing stuff like this all over the place. So yeah, you know, lots of these tiny little barns and other buildings are just absolutely collapsing in on themselves. It's really interesting to see. It reminds me a little bit of some of the old ruins that you find of old farm buildings and so on in North Wales. So So, I've passed through the villages of Lisoy and Verzasca. Now the reason I didn't film any of this was because it was very, very much like really narrow, winding, I wouldn't even call them lanes, like, yeah, maybe, yeah, I could barely squeeze through some of them. There's no road access, stairs, only, you know, accessible by foot. Where, whoa, I just saw another snake. More on that in a moment. Oh, wow, that was amazing. Yeah, anyways, where was I? Yeah, so, you know, you could barely fit through, like, yeah, anyways, as I was saying, one wrong turn and you ended up in someone's front porch, so I really need to keep my wits about me. Now, as I was leaving Verzasca, I was walking down a path very similar to this, and I was literally on my right hand side here. I didn't even realise it was in a gutter, but not sure what kind of snake it was. It was grey, and it was around about a metre, more than a metre long, and that thing moved fast, and just like this little one that I saw just now. Yeah, I mean, I like snakes within reason. I think they're cool reptiles and, you know, very important. But they're getting a little bit too big and a little bit too close for comfort at the moment. So, yeah, that's that. I mean, it's still really cool to see them. So, yeah, just make plenty of noise to startle them and so on. As far as I'm aware, they are non-venomous. So, yeah, and even then, the only venomous snake in Switzerland is the adder, the European adder, and from what I've heard, the venom on that is stings if you get bit, but I try not to do that. So yeah, happy days. So I actually stand corrected. I took a moment to have a look to see what kind of snakes are in Switzerland, and there are actually two venomous snakes: the European adder and the asp viper. So yeah, I stand corrected. But yeah, to see snakes in the natural habitat is amazing. I don't know if I mentioned this in Norway last year, but you know, I was hiking along and I was thinking I've never seen a snake in Norway. Not 20 minutes later I see one just dart in front of me. So yeah, here's another year, another encounter with snakes. Awesome. Alrighty, sorry for the jibber jabber once again, but what I'm walking on now behind me is the old forest road, or not the forest road, but the old road before they built a tunnel back in 1997 to act as a bypass. So yeah. Okay, so nightmare fuel just happened, and that is a snake fell out of these bushes here and into that little overgrowth there. So let's have a look, see if we can spot it. I have no idea if it was a snake or a lizard. It looked fairly big for a lizard. Let's have a look. Oh, this is the absolute stuff of nightmare. Looks like it's gone, but yeah. So yeah, that was the Lake Verzasca Dam. No, that is the lake has a different name, but yeah, that is the dam that makes up the reservoir at the end of the Verzasca River. I'm not going via Contra. What I'm going to do is I've actually cut off the road now. I'm back on public footpath, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto the dam. So yeah, let's do that. So, as you can tell, I have indeed crossed over the Contra Dam. Now, what I didn't know about this dam before I got on it was that it was the filming location for the bungee jump at the start of James Bond GoldenEye. So, yeah. And still to this day, there is a bungee jump rig or setup at the top of the dam that still does bungee jumping. So, yeah. That's that. I didn't film any shots with the GoPro whilst I was on the dam because I didn't want to drop it the however 100 meters that were beneath me, and I also didn't want to risk losing it in the drink. So yeah, here are a few shots from my phone, and as a note before we get to those, bungee jumping is something I will never do. I am an adrenaline junkie, that is true, but bungee jumping is one thing I will never do. I do not have a head for heights. Yeah, you know, 20 meters on a climbing wall, I'm okay, but bungee jumping, no thank you. But yeah, anyways, here are some shots from the dam. Enjoy. Alrighty, so I am approaching the outskirts of Tenero, which means that my Verzasca hike is indeed finished. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed exploring the valley of the Verzasca River and enjoying the outdoors, and as much as I enjoyed making this video. So yeah, please rate, comment, subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you on the next one. Happy days.